have requested anybody in the neighborhood around the house, if they have any Ring doorbell, video cameras, security cameras, if they also observed anything kind of off that night.
It's played a role in the 700 plus leads and nearly 100 interviews conducted by law enforcement. But still,
at this point in time, I can say that we do not have any identified suspect, and we're still, all options are open.
This video is brought to you by Birch Gold. Are you, or are the Biden administration's New Year's goals of taxes and spending and turning a blind eye to inflation at odds with your goals of securing your savings? When you finally had enough of the games that the government is playing with your savings and retirement, diversify into gold with Birch Gold. For over 5,000 years, gold has withstood inflation, geopolitical turmoil, and stock market crashes. And here's the great news. You can still get it. In fact, you can own gold and silver in a tax-sheltered retirement account. Birch Gold makes it easy to convert your IRA or 401k into an IRA in precious metals. Here's what you need to do. Text Brandon to 989898 to claim your free information kit on gold, and then talk to one of their precious metal specialists. They will hold your hand through the whole process. You don't have to be the expert. They got you covered. Protect yourself with gold today by texting Brandon to 989898 with an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and thousands of happy customers and countless 5-star reviews. Trust Birch Gold to help protect your savings. Text Brandon, Brandon, to 989898 today. Like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell to get notification anytime I go live and make a video. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Like this video. Comment on the video. Share this video. Try to do it fast. Let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies, welcome back to the Officer Tatum Show. I was right. Now, I'm not right because I'm just this brilliant Brandon Tatum. I'm right because I have experience in law enforcement. So this article reads, it says how police avoid spooking the Idaho murder suspect. And I want us to understand this because this is very crucial. When this murder situation came out, it was a lot of open-ended questions. And I said on this radio show, I said, there could be a lot of things that police have and they just can't say. Now, I know that there's a twofold system here, right? Because the police may have information that they refuse to disclose to the public because they're looking for leads, right? So if you go to do an investigation of a murder, you don't say, we have all the evidence we need to point towards George. And then they go out and arrest George. But no, because if you say that, then the suspect will know, oh, they recovered my knife. They recovered a gun. They got evidence. Now let me start destroying evidence because I know what they got. I know what they don't have. Now I can change my testimony if they do catch me. I can say I wasn't there. I don't own a knife. All of the above. So some tactics that the police department use at times is that even if they find a murder weapon, they'll say we have no murder weapon at this time.
Tension and uncertainty in the Idaho community where police still don't have answers for how or why 4 college students were stabbed to death in an off-campus home and have not yet named a suspect or made an arrest. Police maintain that these killings were targeted but aren't providing more details, they say, to protect the integrity of the investigation.
They can't come out and say it because if you say we found a suspect in this situation, the person who did the killing know that they own to him. And what are they going to do? They're going to start hiding evidence. They're going to start fleeing. The guy may commit suicide, all of the above. And you can't say we found a murder weapon or we found evidence of a murder weapon. You say that, then the suspect knows, oh crap, I left the sheath to the knife. They got it. They got DNA. You know, then then you catch him at some point, and then he changes his story. And he say, well, I never had a sheath. All of those things are apparent in this situation and occur in police interactions or police investigations. How do you know this, Mr. Tatum? Because I was a cop and I also was a public information officer. So I knew that when I would tell things to the media, I knew that we weren't telling them everything because we have to be strategic. We already know who the suspect is, but we can't tell the public that because we don't want to spook nobody. We don't want nobody skipping town. We want the suspect to think that we're not on to you We have no idea you did it. You are brilliant. You're so smart. You got away with this one, buddy. And in the meantime, the police officers already had the evidence of the sheath. They had already had him suspected. They already had evidence of the vehicle. They've already had all of these things that they were honing in on. So that when you see an arrest being made in a case like this, they didn't get it wrong. Because when you make an arrest, officially, the clock starts at when that person has to be prosecuted, or at least the person has to go before a grand jury. The evidence has to be presented. It's a time clock. You can gather as much evidence as you need before you arrest the person. And it almost works out in the benefit if you got the person who's not going to hurt anybody else, but they're still lingering around because you can just gather so much information. The problem would be if you hastily, and you rush into arresting the first person you think did it, but you didn't have enough information. You have to present that to a grand jury in a few days. And if you don't have sufficient amount, they may not bring the charge to. They may not accept the charges. And then therefore your whole case is blown. But they were working tirelessly to make sure they had everything lined up. Let me show you a couple things, or at least read to you a couple things that I'm talking about. It says one bit of information initially not shared publicly was the review of surveillance. So they didn't tell the public that they had reviewed surveillance footage from the area around the home brought to investigators' attention about the white sedan, later identified as the Hyundai Elantra, according to the probable cause affidavit released Thursday. It says by November the 25th, law enforcement in the area had been notified to be on the lookout of such a vehicle. And several days later, officers at nearby Washington State University, where the suspect was a graduate student in the criminal justice program, identified a white Elantra and subsequently found its registered owner to be the murderer. This was just part of the behind-the-scenes work in a complex quadruple homicide investigation where any hint to the public about the suspect or the various leads police were following could cause it to fall apart. Let me read you a quote. It says, "We don't want to tip off suspects or spook them so that they end up going on the run. We don't want them to try to get rid of evidence or destroy things," which is what one of the individuals said, who's a retired NYPD sergeant, pretty much saying the same thing I'm saying. Says there's a lot of people in the public that need to apologize to the police department. That Mascot, Idaho police chief took a beating and he kept moving ahead. I made mention to you guys. I said they probably got information that they can't release. I've been a part of high-end investigations like this, and we had to be tight-lipped. Yes, we had a murder weapon, but we didn't want the suspect to know we had his weapon. We want the suspect to think the weapon is outstanding. Maybe they'll come back to the scene to try to recover it because they know that we don't have it. At least they think we don't. We don't want to put out to the public. Everybody, we're on the lookout for a Hyundai Elantra. The guy who killed these kids were a criminal justice major. He probably thought he would outsmart the police. And so us saying we have no leads, we have no suspect vehicles, he's just riding around because he think nobody saw him. So why wouldn't he go to class? Why would he go to work? Why would he drive around the city? Because he think they don't have any idea that his car, he thought he escaped. He thought it was smart. And meanwhile, he's driving around creating more and more evidence and tracking the police in more of a direction towards him. Also, the witness account was not revealed until the arrest. It says the crucial clue not shared by police was that one of the two roommates who survived told investigators that she saw a masked man dressed in black in the house the morning of the attack. It says the roommate identified in the document a DM said she heard crying in the house that morning, and a male's voice say, "It's okay. I'm going to help you." DM said that she then saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered his mouth and nose walking towards her. So one of the people, the young lady, saw the man walking towards her. It says also the description said he was 5'10", tall, male, not very masculine. It says muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. The suspect driver's license information which was reviewed by investigators in late November, are turned out to be consistent with the description that she gave. So they already had him way before they told the public. And let me say this before I get off here, is that be mindful of these things before you criticize the law enforcement officers. Just be mindful. They may be on to something, they just can't tell everybody. Hold the phone. Ladies and gentlemen, be back after the break.